Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Sounds of the Diaspora, Artist to Artist, a conversation with yours truly, Dion Parson. I'm really excited about our guest tonight, someone that I've known for a while and a big fan of his music and his recordings, and just he's just an overall great person. He's a guitarist, an educator, composer, producer, and well, just, like I said, all around great person. Please join me in welcoming the one and only Mr. David Gilmore to the show.
Hey, Dion, what's happening, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing tonight?
Doing all right, man.
Good. Well, thank you.
But other than that, I'm good.
I know, man. You're running like always. It's funny, man. Musicians are always they're so busy, man. We're so busy with so many things going on. Trying to do all this last minute stuff before we leave town. But you look well.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, you think we would get used to it, after so many years like of packing and everything and have like a methodology, but it seems like no matter what the trip is, I just get that trip anxiety that kicks in,
Right,
Come
right.
on, what did I forget? Am I forgetting something?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how that is.
Yeah.
But man, we've known each other for a while, and like I mentioned, I've been a huge fan, man. And you've played with like everyone. You've been at this for a while, and I know you're originally from the Massachusetts area, but you went to school in New York, and that's what brought you to the city, right? Going to school.
Yep. Yeah, I came to New York in 1984. Way back when, to go to NYU, New York University.
Well, that's not too bad. I came to New York in 1985 to go to Rutgers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're looking good yourself, man.
Right behind you. So, but that's great. But it seemed like you came on the city like playing, because by the time I met you, you was part of the that collective in Brooklyn with Smitty Smith and Lonnie
And Bass Collective.
and Bass Collective. Yeah, you was already up in that. And I was like, wow, man, check this out. And at the time, that was like new because, we grew up listening to the standards. And then you guys came along with this whole other collective thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that happened around 1987, I would say. So when that was like my senior year at NYU. I actually got the gig to play with Steve Coleman first. And I went to Europe for my first European tour, really my first like bona fide professional tour, I would say, the day before my graduation. So, and they told me I get my diploma in the mail anyway. So I was like, screw that, I'm out of here. So yeah, I left I guess it must have been like May or June of 1987 and flew straight to Austria. And, I'm like, first time in Europe, first time on tour. So that started, and I met Steve through the Black Rock Coalition, which I got involved with probably around 86, around that time, pretty much when it was founded by Greg Tate and Vernon Reed and Jerry Allen. So there was this whole mixture of like jazz players and rock players. And so I met Kevin Bruce Harris, bassist who was in Steve's band at the time. And I guess word of mouth, Steve heard about me, and I went over his house out in Brooklyn. And I went down in his basement, and we had a little rehearsal. Unbeknownst to me, it was like an audition of sorts. And then he asked me to go on tour. And so that was the beginning of that. And then, through Steve, the whole M-Bass thing was starting up. So we did some concerts in that collective at BAM, Brooklyn Academy of Music, right down the street. And then we had some European hits, Umbria Jazz Festival and things. I mean, it was a big band. It was like Cassandra Wilson, Jerry. Jerry was in a couple of the first ones. Then James Weidman, Kevin Bruce Harris, Reggie Washington, two bass players, Marvin Smitty Smith. Who am I forgetting? Robin Eubanks, of course, Graham Haynes.
Right.
So the list goes on. It was a big ensemble. And we managed to do a couple of gigs and and one CD. And it's a lot of stars in the band. Cassandra was in there. Everybody was, so everybody, it was one of these collectives that
right.
It wasn't going to last long, just because it was just so massive and there were so many people involved, and dare I say, egos and things like that, and a lot of things. But what I got out of that early experience is just, I can't even, it was just not knowing it at the time, but at the same time, I'm knowing like this is something really special, but just through osmosis, learning that music that was super challenging. And also, it was really truly a collective, because they were really open to everybody contributing. So I contributed a couple of compositions on that first record. And, this is like me, 1-2 years out of college. So I was beside myself. I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm making it now. No. So,
it was a big deal. I remember coming to New York, and it was like, M-Bass was a big deal. I came to a couple concerts, and I was like, wow. I mean, just the concept you guys have of counting and stuff like that, it was unique. It was so unique. I mean, it wasn't just about playing the music. It was a concept that you guys had musically that Cass was trying to figure out. I remember talking with my friends, like, what they're playing, man? What time signatures? Like 11 and a half. And how do you count that? So it brought a new, I think that was the first time I heard, the music being played that challenging with odd meter or structured, like, not just playing in 7 or playing in 5 or take 5 or something like that, which we came up, and that was odd meter. This was a whole nother, like, mathematical level of performing, which I thought was so unique. So it was great. It was another movement, and it affected what came after that, because you hear a lot of young cats these days doing stuff imitating that, but you guys started that.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely had an influence on a lot of later players, and the most important thing to all of us was that that it had groove, and it had feel, because a lot of stuff that prior to that, I guess you would point to fusion music. Sometimes it can sound a little clinical, a little mathematical and stuff like that. And, bottom line, it has to have groove, man, So I think we accomplished that, because everybody, was a younger generation. We all grew up with James Brown and Sly Stone and all that stuff. So that was kind of the concept. It was like to have, our standards of our day, as well as mixing, the tradition of jazz and improvisation into a totally new sound. It's just interesting to look back at how organic those things just kind of evolve, unconsciously. I guess that's how every kind of movement or style or genre or whatever of music, that it starts, just organically with certain people and the chemistry, and it's a so New York at that time was, New York at any time, really, you could argue, it's just a hotbed of creativity,
Right.
Well, people always talk about the heyday this, heyday that, of course, but there's always something brewing in New York. There's always something killing happening, So, that just happened to be. And then, I remember Peter Warchus of New York Times, he wrote, a lot of stuff on the collective. So that brought it into the forefront in terms of publicity. And
great, man. So that was kind of like a springboard for you to get yourself out there as an artist. I mean, besides what was happening with the collective, but that got you out there as an artist. And you mentioned Cassandra Wilson. I know you played with her, Jerry Allen, amazing innovator as well. We both
one of my favorite.
One of my favorites as well. Her birthday actually was the day after mine. I'm June 11th. She was June 12th.
Oh, so cool.
That was, we shared that birth month together. But
Gemini, right?
Gemini, yes. Yeah. So you went on to play with some amazing musicians. I mean, Tell us. I saw that in your bio you play with Don Byron, one of my guys. I enjoy playing with
we played together. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah,
that was a lot of fun with Don, man. He's such a unique musician. And to be honest with you, man, that was the first time I heard the clarinet played like that ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had the Sidney Bechet's and the Benny Goodmans before that, but what he did, again, being influenced at that time, he just took it to a whole nother level. But share with our audience some of the amazing musicians that you've had the pleasure of performing with.
Yeah, so around that time, Don Byron, as you mentioned. I guess around that time, I started hooking up with the guys in Lost Tribe, another kind of collective band. They asked me to come in after they had a series of keyboard players. So I ended up, they knew I was playing guitar synth. At that time, I was kind of like messing around with that a lot. And so I came in there initially as like almost like a guitar, synthesizer player. And then I ditched the synth after a while. And just use effects, but and I used it on M-Bass as well and some of Steve's stuff. So Lost Tribe, Brandy Brecker, Trilok Gertu, then later on Wayne Shorter, of course.
Right.
And I mean, Christian McBride, Lenny White, tons of people.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what you want to do as a musician coming to New York, is like you want to build a roster of musicians that you've worked with, and to be that proficient to do that. It's amazing that you can do that. So I just wanted our audience to know, how versatile you are, because you're one of the leading guitarists out here, and I'm not sure our audience base is wide, so I'm not sure somebody in Korea may understand of who.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I want.
It's not just the avant-garde crazies out there, And then you've Sanborn and Marcus Miller and those guys as well, but
right, exactly.
Yeah,
and you've had some great accolades, Rising Star, Downbeat Rising Stars for a couple of years, doing that as well. Yeah,
always rising. There's a bunch of jokes to that,
I know.
Old timers, rising star, and like, really, how long do I need to rise before,
I know. That's
attaining.
Exactly. But it's all beautiful. It's all beautiful because
it's all good.
Your music speaks for itself. I mean, I wanted to talk about you as a leader. At one point, you're a sideman to some great musicians. At what point did you decide, hey man, I want to do my own project?
I've always wanted to do my own project, and I've done it to greater or lesser degree over the years.
Okay.
But I've always found it, to be honest with you, I mean, it's no secret, I think, to most people who aspire to be band leaders, that it is immensely more difficult to be a band leader than it is to be a sideman, right?
Right.
Because you got to get the gigs, you got to do the publicity, you got to pay the sideman, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And yeah, it's a challenge. So, I think I really started doing it in earnest, I would say, when I released my first record, like end of 1999 into 2000, when I finally got in the studio, recorded these tunes that I've been working with my working band at the time, which was Brad Jones, George Colligan, and Rodney Holmes, who sadly we just lost last week. So that, and a couple of musical examples I thought about to listen to today were based on that group because of Rodney, and to be honest, that was like the best working band I've had, and that for me was really the launching point of myself as a solo artist, and got really good reviews, and it gave me encouragement to do the next one, but which came out when when did that come out now? I'm forgetting now. 2024, 2020. It took a little while,
right.
So I've had a little gaps in between, but it's sort of like it's like peaks and valleys,
Right.
in terms
Right.
of that. So, and it is the way it is. I'm not about like, okay, I need to do X amount of records. Like record labels. We signed to a record label, if there are any left. You know, they expect you to do a certain amount of recordings within a specified time.
Right.
Whether or not you have the creativity to back it up. Whereas artists, and Wayne Shorter said this. It's like, it happens when it happens. To paraphrase, it's like you can't put a stopwatch on creativity. So having said that, it's easy also to procrastinate, and I've been guilty of that as well. So it's nothing better than having a deadline to work towards, and I've done it that way as well. I think my last record actually that I did on Crisscross was sort of in that direction, where I just needed to get something out because I hadn't done something in a while. So I actually called a booking agent first, and they're like, well, when was your last record? Which was a while before. So then I called Jerry Teakins at Crisscross and said, hey man, how about putting out another record of mine? And he was like, sure. So
Right.
sometimes I need that push,
Right.
stuff like that. And then so I did that record, and then sadly the pandemic hit when the record came out, and also sadly we lost Jerry Teakins as well.
Right.
So my CD was actually, it's called From Here to Here, was the last CD to be produced and released by him. And now the label's been continued by his son and daughter, I believe. And they've put out a few other records now. So, anyway, that was my last record. It's time for another one. And yeah.
You got something in the makings? You got some creativity brewing, getting ready to...
I do. It's more a collective project. My brother, Mark Gilmore, Marque, not to be confused with Marcus Gilmore.
Yeah.
Mark Gilmore is also a renowned drummer, not so much in the jazz field, for those who may not have heard of him. He has made his way more in the world music scene, in drum and bass. He lives overseas. He lives in Stockholm, Sweden. He lived for about 10 or 11 years in the UK, in London, and was like really the pioneer of live drum and bass music.
Okay.
And so he integrates electronics and samples into his kit. So he's he and I are working on a Gilmore Brothers project.
Okay. That sounds exciting.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. We've done a couple of gigs. Richfield Jazz Festival is the second annual one that happened a couple of months ago. We played out there. We've done a couple of showcases at New Blue. Raymond Angry does his Monday nights there, so we've shown up a couple of times, and we're just putting that stuff together, that material, and thinking of guest musicians to bring on to that project. So we're getting that cooking, and he's coming over here in September, October to celebrate our father's 102nd birthday.
Wow. Okay.
And that. So we'll be there to celebrate that, and then get into. You
said Dad is a musician also, right?
Yes, he was a musician. He went to New England Conservatory. He was a classical percussion major, and he went to school at the same time. He actually graduated in class with Cecil Taylor, if you can believe it.
Oh, okay.
In the year, I've seen the yearbook. It's Cecil Taylor. I'm like, wow.
Cecil Taylor. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he knew Sam Rivers, who's also from Boston. He grew up with Roy Haynes, so he knows Roy, knew Roy. So anyway, so he was a musician, and he started a nightclub called the Western Front back in 1968, which ran for decades up until about 8 years ago, I think, closed its doors. So I kind of cut my teeth playing there, as well as cleaning up the bathroom and bartending when I was underage and all that stuff. So I got the club experience when I was really young. But it was a really great experience in high school, playing with my band called Proteus with my brother on drums, and we played at my dad's club, and we messed around on other people's instruments back then, changing the settings on the organ and stuff, pissing off musicians who are like, hey, who's been messing with my shit? Yeah,
That's great.
So that was a great experience. Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
That's great, man. I mean, it's really great to hear your story, because I've known you for a while. I didn't even know half. I didn't even know you had a brother that played drums. So I'm curious to check that out, and I'm gonna just put it out there. When that project comes out, I would love to have you and your brother back to talk about it.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. Yes, I think that would be something that our audience would love to hear, because our span, we're in 165 countries, and so folks around the world is really
beautiful.
They're really checking this out and curious to find out what you have going on. So
beautiful.
From a leader standpoint, I'm curious to, every time I have a guest on, we talk about being a sideman, but I'm always curious about the leadership part. And most of them always start off saying what you said, it's easier being a sideman.
Yeah.
It's definitely easy being a sideman. But then once you put your own stuff out there, that puts you in a whole nother level also, because you can work with the greats as well, but then your voice is so unique. So I'm curious for our audience to hear your music. I've heard you in so many different settings. I know what you're capable of doing, but I want them to check out what you've presented. So you shared some music with us. If you don't mind, I would love to share some of that with our audience. The first song you shared is Event Horizon. Now, which album is this from?
This is on Ritualism. This is my debut album.
Your debut. This is the first album. Yeah. Okay, Ritualism. Yeah. Okay,
and so this is Ravi Holmes on drums. Yeah.
Okay, tell us about the songs and the personnel.
Well, it's the title track of the. Oh, actually, no. I'm sorry. It's not the title track. The title of the album is called Ritualism. So, Event Horizon has nothing to do with the movie. It just has to do, with my, interest in astronomy, and I don't know. I keep a whole list of titles, and then when I write some music, sometimes I have a title in mind, but more often than not, I just go to that list and I see what kind of what title resonates with the music,
Okay.
So anyway, so it's called Event Horizon. For the music nerds, I don't know. Do you want me to share maybe I'll let them listen to it and
share the personnel on the recording.
Oh, the personnel. Okay, so it's George Colligan on keyboards, Brad Jones on bass, and Rodney Holmes on drums.
Great, beautiful. So this is Event Horizon. Let's check it out.
Thank you very much. George Colligan, Brad Jones, Rodney Holmes, David Gilmore.
Event Horizon. Oh, man. Can't watch it live right now, but I hope it will still be accessible later on. We need more releases, David. Best damn jazz guitarist working, and you need more recognition. There you go. All right.
Thank you so much.
Incredible. All right. Great jazz guitar, bro. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So, Event Horizon, the musical structure, the metronomic structure of the song, can you explain it to our audience?
Yes, 11.
Okay.
Different.
So how was it broken up? Like 5, 5, 1?
So let me think. The first part, that riff that Rodney was soloing on is, I mean, you can break it up any number of ways. I'll give you the I'll give you the M bass way, sort of the long, short,
yeah.
Beat, right? And there's different ways. You know, so you can think of it as 5.5, 4, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Where you have 5 quarter notes, and then 1.5 is 11. So it's that's with a long beat at the end, 4, 5, and but it could be also which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
That's
actually why I was hearing it. 1, 2, 3,
yeah.
4, 6, 7.
5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. So.
And it's funny. It's changed for me actually over the years. Sometimes I used to hear it with a long beat at the end, and then I realized years later, like, why am I fighting where it really feels like what you said?
Right.
It is more like before. And then that second section is a little different. That's more, yeah, it's almost like dotted quarters. Yeah.
Right.
Still 11, and then the solo section is a long 11, like 11-2 or 6 and 5, I think.
Right.
That's how.
Right.
Yeah, long beat. Yeah.
So the drum solo section is a short 11, and then the solo is elongated.
Yeah. Because if you try to feel the drum solo and the head version in long beat, it flips on the other side of the beat. You could do it, but it kind of fights it, a little bit. So it's just permutations of 11, and 11 is a number that is, the 1111 thing, that a lot of people see, on their digital clocks and their stuff that appears. It comes up all the time in my life, like more than coincidental. And I drive my wife crazy when I show her, look, like it's 11:11, again, it's like, yeah, right. Yeah. But now it's just because it just happens like all the time. And a lot of people say that's like a pointer to spiritual awakening or whatever. And a lot of the titles on my tunes, particularly in my later albums, all point to some kind of spiritual reference, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Speaking of spiritual reference, were you influenced by the guitar playing of Mahavishnu Orchestra? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I mean, John McLaughlin, big fan. I listened to all that stuff when I was growing up in high school. Yeah. Big time. Absolutely. One of my favorite guitar players. Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. Is like, stepping away from the norm. We live in a 4/4. I call it dual dimension. Everything is up and down. Boom, catch, catch. And there's nothing wrong with it. We live in a duality world. And once you start to expand on that, the more you expand, you start to leave people behind. But again, the base concept of what you've been doing and the folks you work with is really interesting because it's all relevant. If you think 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, you can have 7 1s or 5 1s or 4 1s. There's still 1. So your explanation of playing 11 makes a lot of sense. It's not that difficult. You just have to kind of apply yourself to understand that feeling.
Yeah. Steve Coleman famous quote, nothing is difficult. It's just unfamiliar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And again, we're so used to duality, up, down, on, off, up, down, on.
In Western music,
Western music, yeah. But once you venture out of America, man, the sky is the limit. First time I went to Africa, I was sitting there like, wow, it's like you just hear it all.
Yeah, Balkan music and and Greek music, they have dances in 13 and 15, people dancing to that stuff, So it's exactly.
All of that stuff is amazing. The way the Indian music, they take against the take, the way they count that, and even Senegalese music, the drumming and the influences of the Arabic musicians and stuff is, so we're kind of structured and stuck in our structured world, but the rest of the world is so open to venturing into all of that stuff.
Yeah. And I've always been fascinated by this stuff. I started out playing drums, actually. I started out playing percussion, like, and drums back when I was like in the 8th grade or so, 7th, 8th grade. And then I showed my brother a couple of things. And then, a week later, he was like, I was like, okay. I see who the drummer in the family is. Let me mess around with this beat up guitar that's in the corner my sister used to play.
Oh man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love it.
But I've always had that drummer spirit in me and rhythm. I've always gravitated toward the rhythmic aspect of music and the guitar is a rhythm instrument. And I love that aspect. And it's so underutilized and underrated in so many ways. But Nile Rodgers and all the great rhythm guitar players, it's just incredible what they've done with that instrument. And I just love like sitting in with the rhythm section and grooving with that, as well as, stomping on a, distortion box and playing a screaming solo. But man, I could just do this all day and just lay in the funk, lay in the groove and create, that's what I like about bass too. I play a little bass. It's just, you have so much control and over the direction of the whole band.
That's great. Well, I can hear the drum influence in your playing. When it comes to improvising, you have the melodic and you have the rhythmic, and I think a lot of the true masters understand the rhythmical component. That's why the melodic flows so well. So it makes a big difference.
Sonny Rollins is a great example, man, because people, of course, he was a harmonic and melodic genius, but his rhythm was just insane. What he did with displacement, and phrasing and all of that,
Numbers, baby. And that leads me to the next song that you shared with us, Numerology. Yes.
I gave you these live ones. I forgot that I gave you all these live ones, but that's cool. You get the visual along with the audio. So, and like I said, I wanted to give a shout out to the great Rodney Holmes.
Rodney,
who I found out actually kind of through a friend and did not see it posted on social media until a couple of days later. And I was hoping it wasn't true, but it was on good source that it was true. And I didn't want to put anything out there. And then I heard like several days later, like people were like, man, did you hear? And I was like,
he'll be missed.
Big time, man. And prior to him being in my band, we worked together with Wayne Shorter. That's I think the first time we worked together. I actually recommended him for the band, and we worked in '96 touring with Wayne,
Well, man, he will be missed, and thank you for sharing his talent, with our audience. So let's check out this song that you shared with us, Numerology. Wow, that's some energy, bro.
Woo.
Numerology. So that's 6 balance from the album Numerology.
Yeah.
And that was the standard, the jazz standard?
It's live at the Jazz Standard. So that came out of a grant that I got from Chamber of Music America.
Okay.
So that was kind of like a commission thing, and to write a suite of music. And my proposal was to base it on numerology, of course, and all the esoteric meaning behind it. And so for that particular piece, so I wrote pieces from 1 to 9, basically. And number 6, yeah. So number 6, well, in terms of the structure of that tune, it's in 6 meter, 6/4, if you will, but it has also other rhythmic permutations that the bass player's doing, keyboard player's doing, etc. And the 3 harmonic centers are based on 3 different hexatonic scales. So 6-note scales. So the first one is I can't remember the keys in perfect pitch. I'll just say C and F sharp, right? Major pentatonic, which basically gives you sort of like a diminished, like a C diminished scale, or B half whole diminished scale minus two notes, if you will. So 6 notes from that. The next one is like symmetrical augmented scale, which is like 2 augmented triads, a half step apart. And then the third one is like 2 major triads, a whole step apart, which gives you something like a mixolydian in this particular example. So I just had an opportunity to kind of like experiment, because usually when I compose, it's more organic. It's more like by ear type of a thing. This was like a different approach that I won't say I never did, but with M-Bass and writing for 5 elements, I used some structural concepts, but this was like the first time I really applied like some structural concepts, using these numbers to sort of, put together harmonically and rhythmically some different stuff. So it was a challenge, but it was fun and nerve-wracking at the same time to do a recording. That wasn't part of the grant. The grant was just to compose the music,
right? Which
I did and present 2 concerts. But I had the crazy idea of actually recording it. I was like, what the heck, So I used the money I got to do like 2 nights out of the 3 nights to record live, and thankfully, it came together pretty well. It's definitely some mixing issues, with the drums being right there next to the piano and the leakage and all that stuff, but considering it came out pretty well, I think. Yeah.
And and you had an all-star group, so I mean, come on,
That's my sister asking me, Wanda Gilmore, how you doing, Wanda?
What about off minor? Yeah,
off minor. I would have played off minor, but it's not my tune. That's Thelonious Monk tune. I was supposed to bring originals.
Well, he's going to play another song for us, and let's jump right into this one. This one is called Douala. Douala. I pronounced it right?
You did pronounce it right. Yes, Douala.
Douala. So let's check out Douala, and we'll talk about it afterwards. Check it out. Yeah, that's beautiful. It's beautiful, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoy that. So the concept or the creative thought behind Douala.
The concept behind it?
Yes.
Well, this tune, some people think it's in 3, but it's actually in 12/8. So it has this bass line that's underneath, like it's like this dotted half note thing, but it's actually that it's based off of that,
Right.
you know, that clave, but I've had people interpret it differently.
Right.
Actually, I just came across a recording. It's been recorded by a few different people, and the first time I heard this, I think they're based in the UK. And the woman wrote lyrics to it and everything. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then as I was listening, I heard that they were playing it off the bass note, which is not quite right. It still sounded good, but it wasn't the right feel, you know.
Right,
it's sort of like if you go da 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 ga 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 da 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 da, totally different thing, right? So so it's based off of that that African clave. And Douala is the capital of Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the title from the great Cameroonian bassist Francis Mbappe, who I used to play with, and as well as with Rodney, and we were in his band. And I asked him, like, what does this sound like to you? He said, oh, that's Douala beat. Similar to Douala beat in Cameroon, because I had no idea. So that's where the title came from, basically.
It's a beautiful tune. Really beautiful.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it. And and it just is a testament to the versatility, you know, of your creativity. So thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
So we have one more song, and the time, you know, it goes really quick, and I'm really enjoying this. But we have one more song that we're gonna play. This is the 11th Hour Blues.
Yes,
just
it's on
like
the same album as Douala.
They're playing, right, the 11th Hour Blues.
So when I was talking about like having like music for a session,
Right.
This was one of those tunes. It was like, oh shoot, you know, the session's next week. I better come up with a tune. And this was in the 11th hour. It was written.
The 11th hour. You always write a blues. You can't lose.
You know, can't lose with the blues. Well said. Well said.
Let's check it out. The 11th Hour Blues.
Oof. Man, EJ lighting a fire under me, man,
Yeah,
under the
yeah,
whole
man.
band. Oof.
When was this?
When was that?
Yeah.
Man, gosh, I don't know. It should say on the YouTube thing. It was a minute ago, man. I'm really bad at timelines.
Yeah.
At least
That's
a dozen
great,
years ago.
Great.
At least.
11th Hour Blues. Man, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Thanks for playing
Man,
it.
time is has you know, our time is up, but David is always a pleasure. It was great, you know, seeing you, a couple of weeks ago, hearing you play.
Yeah, man.
And it's funny, man. I stepped out of my place today to run to the store on the way back. Who do I run into coming down the street? Richie Goods.
Oh, really?
Really?
That's
Yeah, he
good.
was coming from a rehearsal on my block. So we talked for a while, and I was like, man, I have David on the show tonight. So I was
that's
good,
crazy.
Yeah, man. But thank you, man, for taking the time
Man,
out.
my pleasure.
You're traveling tomorrow. You're running around. You took a minute, an hour out of your day to sit with me and share your story and your music, your wonderful music with our audience. So thank you. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Dion. Thanks so much, man, for asking me to do this. Yeah, we got to play sometime, man. It's been a minute. It's been too long.
Yes. We'll make it happen. I know you're traveling tomorrow. Have a safe trip. Enjoy, travel mercies to you and your family, and have a good one. And we'll connect when you're back.
Sounds great. All right, brother.
Peace. Thank you, bro. Yes, that's the great David Gilmore, hanging out with us, sharing his story. I really, really appreciate him being on the show, man, because he's so busy. It's really amazing that he took the time to do that. So we really want to thank him. Join us next week as we bring you some more great music from the Imani Winds Ensemble. The one and only Mr. Mark Dover is going to be here sharing his music and his story with you. So come back and join us next week, same time, same place, Source Radio, 7 p.m. We look forward to seeing you. So thank you again for hanging out with us tonight. You guys take care. Have a good evening. Bye.